The front door was still warm when I pressed my hand to it. I had just walked the perimeter of what I thought would be my first home. A quiet street, the scent of cut grass, sunlight glinting off the windows, everything felt perfect. And yet, 4 weeks later, I'd be sitting in a police station, filing a fraud report, $15,000 gone, no house, and no way to get it back. I didn't just fall for a scam. I lived in it, believed in it, and built dreams on top of it. This is how it happened. I never thought I'd be in a position to buy a home. 4 years. I lived paycheck to paycheck, moving from one rental to another. But I cut costs, skipped vacations, and saved up over time. When I finally hit $27,000 in my account, I felt ready. I began browsing listings online, mostly mid-range homes in quieter neighborhoods. I wasn't aiming for luxury, just something clean and livable that I could truly call mine. I came across a property, through a reputable online housing platform. The photos were stunning. A 2-bedroom bungalow, fully renovated, priced slightly below market value. The description mentioned it was a quick sale due to relocation. It felt like a hidden gem. I emailed the agent listed on the website, a woman named Charlotte Hayes with a polished profile and years of experience. Within the hour, she responded. She was warm, professional, and seemed genuinely excited to help me. "You're lucky," she said. "We just had a beer back out, and the seller is eager to close." I asked for a viewing. She said she'd set it up through her assistant, but warned that things were moving fast and I might want to consider securing the property with a small holding deposit. That was the first red flag I ignored, but her tone was so relaxed, so knowledgeable. She said the deposit would go through her firm's escrow account and was 100% refundable if anything didn't check out. 2 days later, I visited the house. The address matched the listing. The house looked just like the photos. I walked around, peeked into windows, and even spoke to a neighbor who confirmed the house had been up for sale for a while. I didn't meet Charlotte in person. She said she was traveling. But her assistant handed me a printed brochure with the firm's logo and her contact information. I went home, thought about it, and called her again. "I want this house," I told her. "What do I need to do?" She emailed over documents, an offer form, a proof of funds request, and the contract for the holding deposit. Everything looked legitimate: watermarks, signature fields, even legal disclaimers. She asked me to wire $15,000 as a deposit. She assured me this would take the listing off the market temporarily and show the seller I was serious. I was nervous, but she was calm. She answered all my questions and even CC'd someone from the legal department who confirmed the terms. It felt official. The bank account I was sending the money to was under the name of the firm she supposedly worked for. I double-checked everything before wiring it. 2 days later, she sent me an email saying the seller had accepted my offer, and the next steps would follow once legal cleared everything. I waited. 3 more days passed. I emailed again. No reply. I called the number she had used. It went straight to voicemail. Her assistant wasn't answering either. I began to panic. I Googled the real estate firm she supposedly worked for, and that's when the truth hit me like a freight train. The company existed, yes, but the domain name I'd been corresponding with was 1 letter off from the real one. Hers was at charlottehayesrealty.co.uk, while the actual firm was at charlottehayesrealty.com. I dug deeper and found a Reddit thread. Multiple users had posted warnings about a scam involving a fake Charlotte Hayes. Someone even shared the same brochure I'd been given. Word for word, only the address was different. My chest tightened. I rushed to my bank to report the transaction. But it had already cleared. The account had been emptied and closed. I had sent the money into a black hole. I filed a police report and contacted fraud services. They said I'd done what many others had, fallen for a cloned real estate listing scam. These scammers use real listings, fake domains, and even real-world property addresses. The worst part, the house was actually up for sale. but with a different agency altogether. The real seller had no idea. People were being scammed under their roof. I contacted the actual agency. They told me I wasn't the first victim who showed up at that property, thinking they'd already secured it. I cried for a full day. I didn't eat. That $15,000 was everything I had. The rest of my savings had been reserved for fees, repairs, and moving costs. I felt like I'd been robbed in broad daylight. For the next week, I barely slept. I replayed every email, every call, every text. The signs were all there, but masked so carefully by design and professionalism. I learned that these scammers copy everything. The listings, the agents, the language, the legal forms. They even create fake websites with glowing testimonials. And they move fast. Once they get your money, they vanish. One investigator told me the scammers were likely operating overseas, using fake IPs, prepaid SIMs, and temporary domains. My bank said they'd do what they could, but weeks went by with no result. My money was gone. Friends tried to be supportive, but I could see it in their eyes, the silent judgment. How could you fall for that? They wondered. But unless you've seen how real it all looks, you'd never understand. I considered giving up on buying a home altogether. That one scam shattered years of progress, both emotionally and financially. But eventually, I started to rebuild. I began documenting my story. I connected with other victims online. We shared our screenshots, our fake documents, and began mapping out the patterns. One thing became clear. Scams are getting smarter. They don't just play on greed, they prey on hope. Hope that you finally found your dream home. Hope that you're moving forward. Hope that this agent, this smiling, well-spoken, knowledgeable Charlotte, is who she says she is. Today, I'm renting again, and I'm saving. But this time, I triple-check everything. I only use verified listings and never trust emails that come from search results. If you're watching this and thinking about buying a house, slow down, cross-verify every agent, call the company directly, and never, ever wire money until you've seen the keys in your hand. Because when you're chasing a dream, it's easy to let your guard down. And these scammers, they know that. I lost $15,000, but I gained awareness. And maybe, just maybe, if you're hearing this now, I've helped you keep your money safe. Don't let your dream become a trap. If you found this story helpful or eye-opening, please consider sharing it with someone who might be at risk. The more people know about these scams, the harder it becomes for scammers to succeed. And if you've experienced something similar or want to share your story to help others, send it to us at the email in the description below. You might save someone from falling into the same trap. This is Scam Alert, where we expose the lies, so you can stay safe. Like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.